Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here. So the Washington Commanders put out their 53-man roster. So we're going to be breaking that down in today's video, talking about some surprise cuts and some guys that surprisingly made the team. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button and that notification bell as well so you never miss any of these videos. It really does help out a ton. So even though this is technically the final 53, they still might make some moves. They might put some, people on IR. They might release a couple of these guys and bring some guys back, like maybe Tyler Larson, who got released, which was a little bit surprising to me, and guys like Alex Arma. First, let's talk about the guys that, got released. Some of these guys we talked about before, Casimir Allen, some of these guys I won't name because, we already knew they were going to get released, but Alex Arma, Mason Brooks, Tariq Castro-Fields, Jake Fromm. Some people thought he was going to make it, but it looked like he was trending that he wasn't, even though he played well. They were just going to keep two. That's what I think their thought was. They'll probably try to bring him back on the practice squad. Tyler Larson got cut. That one's surprising to me. We'll talk about that later. Rashad Wildgoose, and that's kind of it right there. Let's go over the 53-man roster for you guys that do not know. So QB, nothing surprising there. Running back, same thing, nothing surprising. Receiver, I think I got two total players wrong, and one of them was not having Mitchell Tinsley on the roster. I thought they were going to maybe just, release him and try to bring him back later, but I was wrong about that and should have had him on the roster, but they're keeping Jahan, Diami, Curtis, Terry. Those are the obvious ones, and then Byron Pringle, Dax Milne, and Mitchell Tinsley. It's a solid group. Dax Milne is going to be the punt returner. Maybe they go out and sign Desmond King, or I can't remember what team, but one team released a good returner that, that's something the Commanders could go after as well. But this is their, returner for now, just to play it safe. And then if they can get someone else, they will. Tight end, this was the biggest surprise for me. So obviously, Logan Thomas, Cole Turner, and John Bates are going to make the team. But Curtis Hodges, man, I saw Ed's video. That's a head scratcher. I do not agree with the move at all. Even if Logan Thomas, isn't fully healthy, Curtis Hodges, what has he shown? He is 6'8", he's athletic, but he didn't show anything really in camp, didn't have a great preseason. This is the one I really disagree with. I don't think they should have kept him. So that's another one I got wrong. I didn't have him making the roster. So, yeah, that's just the one I don't agree with. I think they could have. I much rather would have kept, let's say, Derek Gore or Jarrett Patterson as a fourth running back than Curtis Hodges. There's no reason to keep him. The other guys, Ricky Strawberg, Nick Gates, Andrew Wiley, Charles Leno, Trent Scott, who after they put Braden Daniels on IR, I said he was going to make the team. And then Chris Paul, Cosme, Sadiq Charles, Cornelius Lucas. The only real surprise is Larson not being there. I also disagree with that. If I had to choose, so let's say Curtis Hodges is off the team, then I would bring in Tyler Larson because I think you need another center there because, Ricky could be good, but with our, unfortunate luck at center the last couple years, I think we need three centers and at least a veteran in there. But that's the offense. Defense, very few surprises, actually none. I think I got every single one of these correct. So Andre Jones, KJ Henry, Montez Sweat, Casey Toole, James Smith-Williams, F.A. Obata, Chase Young, Ridgeway, Allen, Payne, Mathis as the D-line. And then linebackers, Kalik, David, Jamin, and Cody Barton. Cornerbacks, you got Emmanuel Forbes, Benjamin St. Juste, Fuller, Christian Holmes, and Danny Johnson. And then safety, you got Quan Martin, who safety/corner, Derek Forrest, Cam Curl, Percy Butler Reeves, and then Sly, Tressway, and Cameron Cheeseman. So absolutely zero surprises there. KJ Henry and Andre Jones, they both made it. Good for them. Every single draft pick for the Commanders made it. So they love to keep their draft picks even if they're not ready. I mean, Braden Daniels made it, or he didn't make the 53, but that's because he was on he got placed on IR, so he's still technically under team control. So he did not make it. So, and yeah, let's talk about some guys that shout out to them. Mitchell Tinsley, shout out him for making the roster. Really, made some plays in camp, but in the preseason, he really showed out, made a couple catches in the first couple games, one big catch, and then the last game had a nice touchdown with the spin move, and then had the other one where it was almost a touchdown. He got out at the 1 or less, and that was really a really good job from him. So Mitchell Tinsley, shout out to him for making a roster. undrafted free agent. It's very hard for those guys to make rosters. And when they signed him, I thought there was a chance he would make it, and Kazmir Allen. Both those guys were really the only ones I was like, okay, these guys have a chance. And one of them made it. Shout out to Mitchell Tinsley. Kazmir Allen, I assume, will be on the practice squad. If we look at these guys that got released, I think a lot of them they'll try to get back on the practice squad. Kazmir Allen, Alex Arma, I think they'll try to bring him back on the active roster. So they could maybe, if let's say they put Mathis on IR, they can bring him back, or if they release Curtis Hodges and then put Alex Arma back. William Bradley King, he's been in the system for a while. He's a perfect practice squad guy because he knows the system. They can call him up, and if they need a DN to play, he can play as like a backup or a special teams guy. Mason Brooks, practice squad guy. Castro Fields and Rashad Wildgoose, if those guys clear waivers, they'll be practice squad guys. Jake Fromm, of course, if he clears, practice squad as well. Dejon Harris, Milo Eifler, those guys, practice squad guys as well. And I forgot to talk about this. They placed Brandon Dillon, Kyrick McGowan, Caden Smith, and Jonathan Williams all on IR, ending those guys' season. So unfortunate for those, but it's just a way for those guys, for the Commanders to keep team control of those guys. And yeah, that's just what they're doing there. And some of those might be serious injuries, some of them might not. I think Derek Gore is also a practice squad guy just because he does know the system. I think they probably like him better than Jarrett Patterson, even though I think Jarrett Patterson, I personally would take Jarrett Patterson, but I know there's some Derek Gore fans in the chat right here. Nolan Laufenberg is another guy I think they'll try to bring back on the practice squad as well, because he's been in the system for at least on the team for a couple of years. So, and then they'll probably keep another DB or two. So I think this is a good 53-man roster. I don't feel upset about really any of the guys they cut that I'm like, oh man, this team's gonna sign him and he's gonna be really good. Like, I would be surprised if we had more than one or two guys that got claimed. Like, out of all these guys, maybe Jake Fromm, and then Tariq Castro-Fields. I think it was him. It was either him or Guagoose that was drafted last year in the 6th round, so maybe another team will take a flyer on them. And then I could see like Kazmir Allen or Mason Brooks getting some looks, but like let's keep it real. None of these guys are going to be stars. Like, so it's not the end of the world if another team claims them. Like, think about our team, players that we've claimed. Like, not a lot of them have worked out really, really well. Besides John Ridgway. John Ridgway was a great pickup by the Commanders. I can't remember if it's like right before the season, or it might have been in the middle of the season, but that was a good pickup by the Commanders. There's some guys that they could go after. Albert O wanted the Commanders to go after him, but if you did not know, the Eagles just traded for him. Seems like the whole NFC East, man, the Cowboys, especially the Eagles and the Giants, those two teams have been very aggressive in terms of trades and signing guys, like, re-signing guys as well. And it seems like it's working. And they traded like a 2025 5th-round pick, and they get Albert O and a 2025 7th-round pick. So they traded him for like a future 6, like not even like a 6th-round pick this year, but in 2 years. So just a good move by them. They're taking a flyer like they did last year with Trey Sermon. Like, they, signed him off waivers. Like, that's a solid move. So I think that I wish the Commanders were a little bit more aggressive with that. Hopefully with the waivers they are, sign a couple guys, sign some veterans at like the linebacker position, maybe O-line and tight end. Like, that's where I feel like this team needs to add some guys and needs some more depth. Like, the D-line I feel great about. Linebacker, not so much. Safety and cornerbacks feel good about. Receivers, it's fine. I mean, it's more than fine. It's great. Running backs, good. Quarterbacks. But tight end O-line needs some work. So, and returner as well. Dax Mills right now is a safety valve, but if they find someone better or that they like more, they could go after them as well. So that's just something to consider as well. So I think that's going to do it for the video. Usually these 53-man rosters are longer, but these reactions, but nothing crazy happens. So it is what it is. I will be posting a video talking about guys I want the Commanders to sign. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.